And we are live. Welcome to the MLB Live Before Lock, Monday, September 1st. We are out of August. We are into September. The NFL is coming, but today is a baseball day. Happy Labor Day, everybody. I'm Josh Engelman. Follow me at Josh Engelman on all the social platforms that you would want to go to. Hit the like button on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. What's going on, folks? What's going on? We got a lot to talk about over the next hour. Nice slate. 10-gamer. Cores. That's how we got to deal with what we've got today. We're going to work our way through it. We'll talk stacks. We'll talk pitching. We'll build a couple lineups, and we will get our lineups in for the end of this video. For anybody that doesn't know, lock today, 1:05 Eastern time. So what's going on, folks? Good to have you guys here. We live. I don't know how much of a crew we're going to have today on this holiday, but that's okay. We got a lot to break down. We got the Giants with a 6.5 run implied total, a 19% top stack score, which is more than double any other team on today's slate. They're also backing that up with 16.5% ownership. And the real tricky part about the Giants today, they're also the tied for third in top value. It becomes very difficult to get away from teams like the Giants in those situations when their value metrics also look good. Rockies are second in top stack. They also get the benefit of playing in Colorado. Minnesota near the top. The Miami Marlins are near the top. And then it sort of flattens out. White Sox are sitting out there as a really nice value option. Angels are sitting out there as a value option. Nats are out there as a value option. We got a lot to talk about on the hitting side. Mike, Raps Branson, North Carolina, 2 comments. Yeah, it was cold this morning when I woke up. I took the dog out like 7 and went out in the backyard. It was brisk for the first time in a long time. Not mad about it, but I'm just going to skedaddle and go to Puerto Rico on Wednesday and enjoy some warm weather. But for today, we're going to talk some stacks. Let's just start with the Giants because we at least need to talk about them a little bit. 19% top stack, 9.5% top value. They're 2xing everybody in stack score. They've got the highest implied total of anybody. Matchup looks pretty darn tasty. I've got it pulled up here on the screen right now. Chase Dollander on the hill for the Rockies, and he's been pretty bad, depending on how you want to look at it. 850 pitches thrown to lefties, 234 x ISO. Every lefty that faces him is blasting him. Pause. 391 x WOBA, sub 10% swinging strike rate. It's been a little better against righties, similar sample size. Strikeout rate, though, climbs in a big way. 15% to lefties, 23% to righties. X ISO gets back down in that 170 range. So it's going to be lefties from San Francisco that you're going to try to target. Obviously, Devers looks incredible. Smith looks great, depending on who ends up being in the lineup. You can see where we're going here. It's not a ton of lefties, though. They definitely do lean a little bit more to the right-hand side, which is maybe not the biggest benefit today. Let's take a look at this Giants team and see how they've been against righties and on the road. So versus not right-handed hitters, that would be dumb. Let's switch this to batting. So versus righty pitchers on the season, am I on like a stupid table? Why is this bucketing the way that it is? I don't know what I've done here, but teams 2025 active roster versus righties. Okay, there we go. Finally. I don't know what that was doing. So Giants 8th in WRC plus against righties this season. 163 ISO. It's going to be 19th. They don't K all that much. Middle of the package strikeout rate. They're like an average team against righties. But all of their righty performances, all 3,100 plate appearances, a large majority of those haven't come in course. Some of them have, obviously, but they're in as good of a spot as you can get to. How have they been away from home? Because I think that's an interesting test. Obviously, San Francisco, big time pitchers park. So if we get them out of San Francisco, 12th in WRC plus, 11th in ISO. Now they do K a little bit more on the road, but I think the clear takeaway here is that the Giants are obviously the best stack today. What you do with the Giants, whether that's the way you fill out the rest of your lineup, whether it's taking a chance on a lower owned pitcher, you're going to have to make some minor adjustments from an ownership perspective, but nothing too crazy. I think it's the rest of the teams that are most interesting because you guys don't need to be told that the Giants are good. So let's look at Colorado since they're second. They're the second most owned team. They're the second highest top stack team. They're not a great value, at least based on our top value metric, 4.5%. They do have the 5.6 run implied total. Obviously, the park factor, very helpful. And you get to the same game. So let's take a look at the matchup on the opposite side. Now, sample size for Tang is light, 250 pitches. Hasn't gone great against righties, but again, very minimal sample size here. So we don't want to read into it too much. And obviously, the lineups that come out could affect this a little bit. Tang's 26, spent 57 innings worth of time in AAA this year. Strikeout rate was very real, 37% K rate in AAA. That is not normal. How many AAA innings did he throw last year? 75. Okay. So last year in 75 innings, it was 17%. That is like the outlier of all outliers. I can't really assume that that's going to keep happening. He's thrown 13 and a third major league innings this year, 11 last year. He has gotten absolutely destroyed in all of that. Kept the ball in the ballpark pretty well in AAA. I mean, we're talking 343 xFIP. That's not what it ever looked like before. None of the projection models really like him. But then you start looking at Colorado and it's like, okay, well, is Colorado more interesting than San Francisco because of the ownership discount? I'd say to a mild degree, yes. You're probably, even though it doesn't bear out here, you're definitely looking at Moniak, Goodman, Doyle, Tovar. It's either guys on the Rockies are either like good options in a stack or they're awful. And there's no real like that guy's fine type dudes on this team. So it's kind of all or nothing. It feels like you're going to have like four of the same dudes and like one random other guy. I have another team I want to talk about. Potentially. Actually, you know what? Let me open it up to chat here. How many people do we have in here right now? We've got about 300. Yeah, shout out to you guys. Three, that's more than I was expecting for today. What teams are you guys looking at? Who are the sneak stacks for today that you guys want to look at? Because Minnesota's obviously up there in a big way and not really pulling any ownership. And they're third in top stacks, second in top value, second in stack score, but only 5% owned. Yeah, Mohammed, I'm going to get to Minnesota in a second. Drinking the Stars says Houston. Not a team I wrote up, but we could look at them. Oh, holy shit. Now everything's popping. Miami, Cincy, Twins, Nats, Mets, White Sox, Cubs, Miami, Toronto. Okay, we'll get to Miami in a second. I think we have to talk about the Twins. Their top stack percentage is 2% higher than their ownership. They're tied for the top spot in value. 0.3 of a percentage point is nothing. This is the most under-owned team that we have going today, at least in this current run of what we have. There's no sample whatsoever on the White Sox starter. So let's pull him up and take a look. I mean, obviously we're getting Bryce Wilson for a bit, who's irrelevant. Yeah, 536 Sierra on Bryce Wilson so far in 40 innings this year. Ellard's probably going, what, 1 1.33. First time they're using him as an opener, has only recorded more than 4 outs or more than 3 outs once. So you're only going to get one. You're only going to get 1 inning out of him. So that's going to be what, Buxton and Jeffers? I mean, righty lefty for Buxton's going to be nice. But clearly we don't care at all about getting to Bryce Wilson. At best, I mean, we're talking about a guy with a projected 15.5% K rate. It's 12.5 in 45 innings this year. I mean, that's the guy to me. I want to build one out in the single lineup sim quick for Minnesota. So let's take a look at Minnesota here. So we obviously want Buxton. We have to take Keyshaw. We have to take Jeffers. That's second base, outfield, and catcher already checked off. Can't imagine not taking a $3,100 Royce Lewis. And then part of me wants a Julien, but I think we're going to be saving a decent chunk of salary here. I'm going to take Wallner, take the second outfield spot. That's going to leave us first short outfield. We have the 2 pitchers. I'm just going to throw a little bit of randomness on here and see what that gives us. Oh, so we end up spending down at pitcher in a big way and then getting a 3-man Giant stack. Let's see what this looks like. We get Devers, Adames, and Helio Ramos. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. Now, it is Luis Garcia and Colin Rea at pitcher, and I think that maybe we could probably go like 5-2-1 and get one better pitcher here. So what happens if I pick one pitcher? If I just hop over here and we decide to take, I mean, I guess Garcia is fine at 7,500, but I'd like to take something a little bit more oomph. I'm going to look at Mizorowski, even though I don't really love that, but I just want to see what it looks like when it builds it out. All right, so if I take Mizorowski and then I complete the lineup, we end up with Hunter Green, Mizorowski. We only get Willy Adames, but we get Moniak and Chaparro as well. This one might actually be better. And it is. See what happens when you take a little bit better of the pitching here? 108 sim ROI. 0.4% chance to win, 2.6% chance at that top 10 lineup, 35.5% cash. I think this is the move. I think the Minnesota Twins are my favorite team today. I think it's got to be Minnesota. Now, we had a lot of people say Miami, so let's take a look at it here. So Miami right now is 4th in top stack, middle of the pack, top value, no ownership right now. They're even less owned than the Minnesota Twins. Stack score, they're sitting 4th. Ownership share, they're sitting 2, 4, 6, 8, 9th. So there's some leverage here for Miami as well. Let's take a peek. So what do we have here? Let's take a look at this matchup. Miami Marlins. This guy go by, yeah. So Alvarez, 26. Major league debut. Strikes out no one. 123 innings in AAA this year. 21.5% K rate, 10% walk rate, 444 FIP. Yeah, this guy's a nothing. An absolute giant nothing burger. He's not even going to show up here, is he? No. All right, I'm just going to fill this in with anybody from the Nats, just to make it show up. Would be a fun name to click on. I was hoping there was just like a really random Nats name. Let's go Mitchell Parker. No, that's a lefty. That's dumb. Because there's no splits history on this starter, so add more funds is going to be useless. Anyway. Marcy for sure, assuming he's in the lineup. Not. Of course not. Hitting third, great. We're in great shape. Let's build one out for Miami as well. I think that's the move, because I think that we can corner the market here as well. Let's see what we have for Miami. Because this guy stinks. And I agree, we want to target here, especially with this owner. I mean, look at the ownership numbers on these guys for Miami. The most owned guy is Agustin Ramirez at 6%. So he's going straight in. Xavier Edwards is going straight in. Marcy is going straight in. And then I think it's probably like Norby and maybe Wagaman. I'll go Otto Lopez. We'll go Otto Lopez. So that's catcher, second, third, short, and outfield. I won't even pick the pitchers. I'll let the app do the work. All these extra features in the single lineup sim are great. Okay, so this did have us spend up for the true top end of pitching. We got Sonny Gray and Hunter Green. We got Josh Bell in at first. We got Matt Wallner in for the outfield, and we ran back Moniak again, which at 3,600 in that spot, I mean, that's one of the best plays of the day. Ownership now on this sim is lower than it was before. I think this is going to explode. 70% is no joke. I mean, it might be the third best one we've built. But I think the moral of this story right now, whether it's Minnesota or whether it is Miami, I think both of those stacks are standing out in a big way in our data. I just knocked 3 lineups, just rando 5-man stacks. All 3 of them were knocked out of the park, pun intended, for this show. Why would we dodge that? I can't see any reason why we would. Those two teams seem like way better options. Let me scroll back through and see what everybody said. If there's anybody else I should look at that got a couple extra votes. I feel like we were pretty spread out. I mean, there's a lot of White Sox, which, you know, the value's there. They're the number one value stack of the day, which is always helpful. Bailey Ober on the hill. I can look at the White Sox quickly before we look at the pitching. So Ober just gets hit hard, no matter who's up there against him. Does strike out more righties than lefties. But 209 x ISO this year to lefties, 237 to righties. I mean, Sosa, Teal, Montgomery, Benintendi. I mean, I can't say that I don't like the White Sox as well. They're the easiest team to roster. Morgan in the house. Go check out Laffy's interview on our YouTube channel right now. The most recent message you see on the screen. Won like close to $1 million last week. Go check it out. Why would you want to miss it? Laffy put up another great interview. You guys don't want to miss it. So go check that one out. I'm liking the White Sox. Can we work on the same magic on the White Sox? I think we can. So we just built out Minnesota. Let's build out the White Sox as well. So that's going to be Sosa and Teal. Easy. Montgomery, easy. Benintendi, easy. All right, so we can go Mead, Medra, Baldwin. Those are our only options. Mead. I think we're going to put Baldwin in that third base spot. Yeah. I assume we're going to get Green and Gray again. Oh, okay. So Gray, Strider now. Devers, Buxton, Wallner. So 5-2-1. We're grabbing Buxton and Wallner from the opposite side of this game, and our one-off is Rafael Devers, who probably is the best bat on the entire slate. We did bump our ownership up a lot. I think this is going to be the worst one we've had, and I think it's because of the pitching. 67. I can make this lineup better. Very easily, too, I believe. So if I pull all of those guys, and we look at pitching value, points per dollar for pitchers today. Strider's at the top. Luis Garcia is second. Colin Ray is third. Sonny Gray is fourth. Do we just have too much salary if I take Garcia? Garcia, Gray, Devers, Ramos, Buxton, 200 left over. Is that a better lineup? Sure isn't. Sure isn't. I think we might have hit it right out of the gate. I'm going to bump up the randomness a little bit, see how it looks differently. Gray, Green, Devers, Ramos, Wallner. That's taken on a lot more ownership because that was Strider Gray to start. It seems like we could land in that 67 range with any sort of combination of Minnesota, Miami, and the White Sox. And I think those are the three teams that I care the most about today, while trying to use the Giants guys and the Rockies guys as much as possible to fill out the rest of those lineups. Because I don't want to get away from San Francisco. They're the best for a reason. But if I'm going to have them, then I could take their chalk with these lower owned lineups and feel a lot better about it. So that's kind of what I want to do. I think now we need to move on to pitching. Before we do that, though, I don't want you guys to forget what's going on these days. The NFL is here. We start this week. Real live NFL football starts this week. We got a couple options for you. Let's start with this one, because maybe it's not NFL you've got your eye on. Maybe it's college football. You can get our college football packages for 30% off right now using the promo code SCORE. Or the one that I think everybody wants the most. If you're going to play the whole NFL season, if you've been around our streets before, this is the way to save the most amount of money. It's 10% off our NFL yearly or all access packages. The stuff that's going to get you in the door big time. This will cover everything we have. You'll get it for the whole season. You got nothing to worry about until February. It's 10% off using the promo code BIRD. And this will end Monday of next week. So you've got a week from today, but the season is here. And if you're getting it yearly, get in now. Start playing with the data. Get into the sims, because all of our projections are posted. Anything you could want on the NFL side right now, it's live and getting updated every single day. If you want to sign up on the NFL side, this is the deal you're looking for. Tom, yes, this is a Liverpool kit. Yesterday was a great day. Took down Arsenal on one of the greatest free kicks you'll see in the Premier League. Signed Isak this morning. Signed Mark Gay this morning. So I'm still repping my Liverpool fit. Shout out to Maka. Go Reds. Pour one out for Harvey Elliott, though, man. Sold him to Aston Villa this morning. I named my dog after that guy. So, little bit of a bummer. Gucci, it is a pay up front option for the year. It just kind of shows it in monthly form so you can get an idea of the discount. All right, pitching today is going to be a journey. I guess we got to start at the top with Sonny Gray. So you've got Sonny Gray as the most owned pitcher. Steven, he's great. Gray's coming in 31% owned. Basically, Hunter Green, Sonny Gray, and Spencer Strider are all about 20% to be a top two pitcher, and they're all about 25 to 30% owned. Now, Hunter Green is at home, taking on Toronto. This is the Jays team with some power. You got an 11.7% barrel rate as a team. This is a park that gives up power as well as any park in the league. I think this is a very boom bust start for Hunter Green. Now, for Sonny Gray, in St. Louis, taking on an A's team that's got some pop. But both of these guys have massive strikeout stuff today. Let's pull up OddsShopper. Look at those strikeout props for Green, for Gray, and for Strider. I should probably also just log in so my settings exist. All right, there we go. So, total strikeouts for today. We want to see Green, Gray, Strider. Green. There we go. 5.5. Juice to the over. Under 6.5. Juice to the under. So, Hunter Green is sitting at basically 6 for today. Sonny Gray, over 6.5 is plus 116, under minus 130. Basically sitting at 6 as well. I'd say that he's like a half step ahead of Green. And then Strider sitting at basically the same way Green is. Over 5.5, under 6.5, both with heavy juice. So pretty much all three of them are sitting in that exact same area of 6Ks. Now, Hunter Green is projected in the props market, 17.5 outs, juice to the over. Sonny Gray, 17.5 outs, juice to the over. Spencer Strider, more like 16.5 to 17. So a little bit behind there. And as we look at it, Hunter Green, 4.1 run implied total for the game, 3.8 for Sonny Gray, 4 for Strider. These guys all look the same. Now, obviously, Strider has been not what we're looking for lately. So I'm going to pose this question to you guys for the top 3 dudes. Green, Gray, Strider. Who do you like the most? Who do you like the least? Because I'm guessing everybody here has an opinion. You probably like someone a lot. You might like 2 someones. And I'm guessing you don't like a third. And I feel like Strider's the guy to like the least. But I'm at least a little nervous about Hunter Green and Sonny Gray. And it's not like Mizorowski's sitting in a spot where like you feel great. Yeah, nobody trusts in Strider right now. Nobody is trusting Spencer Strider. And with good reason. I get it. Last 3 starts. 4 out of his last 5 starts. 3 Ks, 2 Ks, 2 Ks, 3 Ks. Buoyed by 1 game where he did have 6 strikeouts against Milwaukee and also gave up 11 hits. He's given up 11, 10, and 8 in 3 out of his last 4 starts. He's given up 7 home runs in his last 4 starts. But while he didn't get the strikeouts last time out against Miami, he still only allowed 3 hits. It's still an average start, but is that the glimmer of hope we're looking for? I got to be honest, I think I like Spencer Strider today. I know it hasn't been great. I mean, these numbers don't look anything like something you want. 180x ISO to lefties, 211x ISO to righties. I mean, this is all not ideal. But that's still a 23% strikeout to lefties. That's still a 28% strikeout to righties. If we take a look at the Chicago Cubs, does anything lead us in that direction? Active roster versus right-handed pitching. The Chicago Cubs are 22nd in strikeout rate. That's not helpful. It's a 183 ISO. It's not helpful. But I'm admittedly a little nervous about all 3 of those top guys. So I guess then the question is, how do we get different at pitcher? Because we've got Hunter Green and Gray and Strider all in that same area of ownership. Is it a 8% owned Charlie Morton? Is it 15% owned Luis Garcia? Do we just pivot to a different pay up and go to Jacob Mizorowski? We have some options. Bayo. We do have Brian Bayo sitting out there in a matchup against Cleveland with essentially no ownership and really not looking any different than all these guys above him. You've got Messick on the opposite side of Bayo. Chris Bassett is sitting there kind of going ignored. But at the same time, Chris Bassett is also heading to Cincinnati for today's game. And that is just not a fun place to pitch. Like, there's certainly an argument to be made for Chris Bassett. 24% K rate to righties. Righties don't hit him at all. 298x WOBA. Lefties have picked up the punch a little bit now. But Marte, De La Cruz, Hayes. There's not a ton of power in that Cincy lineup. How do they project? What's the Cincy power looking like? They don't strike out all that much, but yeah, I mean, that looks about right. 26th in ISO against righties this year for Cincinnati. Now, obviously, they get a benefit from their home park. Where is their ISO at home? Because I think that's really telling. This active roster has a 142 ISO at home this season. Good for 26th. Is it possible that most of Cincinnati can't take advantage of Bassett when he's bad? Like, Ellie's in a great spot. He's going to step up there from the left side. He's a legitimate problem today. But all of the other problems don't really feel like problems that much. I got to be honest. I think Chris Bassett's the guy that's getting slept on. He's got a 17.5 outs prop. That's in comparison with everybody else. This is the problem right here. 4.5 strikeouts, but pretty sizably juiced to the over. He's basically a strikeout behind that top notch of Green, Gray, and Strider. But he's also only 10% owned. He's still the 5th highest top 2 odds. He's probably a hair underpriced. But I'm beginning to think that Chris Bassett is a guy that we want to pay attention to. Let's say we get Chris Bassett into that lineup that we built with the White Sox previously. We can get Gray, Devers, Buxton, Moniak, leave 3 on the table. I mean, we're still going to be in the positives here. And we can do better than that if we needed to. We've gotten a lot of Bayo, so I guess we could look at it here. Taking on Cleveland. 158 x ISO to lefties this year, strikes out nobody. 149 x ISO to righties. 20% K rate. You know, Schneemann will be a problem. Manzardo will be a problem. Naylor would be a problem. Why the hell do you guys like Bayo? I legitimately hate it right now. So let me look at these props. 4.5 strikeouts, dead neutral on it. Now the pitching outs are probably reasonable. Does Bayo not have an outs prop, or did I scroll by it? There it is. 17.5 juice to the over. Okay, that is what you would expect. What's the earned runs? I mean, it's 1.5 juice heavy. Now it's 2.5 and barely juiced. Guys, I don't like Bayo. Am I crazy? Cleveland against righties. 28th is awful. But they don't strike out a ton, and they do have at least enough pop. You know, 160 might as well be average. I don't know if I like this. Like, Quan, Schneemann, Ramirez, Manzardo, Naylor. Is that, what are they running out? Yo, that's lefty, 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 lefty. They're running 9 lefties. We got to have a conversation there. The Guardians are running out 9 lefties against Bayo. So we got to dig into his life against lefties. Let's add in last year, because that's going to be like, it's going to be a massive sample. Yeah, 27, almost 2,800 pitches to lefties, 165 x ISO. I mean, he's fine. Huh. Let's not forget, against lefties, 105 overall park factor. It kills power, but it's a massive doubles park. I don't like this. No, I'm not Team Bayo. You guys wanted me to dig into that? That's a firm no for me. I don't like this. There's too much power potential. I think the boom bust nature of it is there. You know, he's only pulling 6% ownership. So like, I don't mean it like I don't think that's enough. But I don't like that. I don't like that. Let me look at Messick on the opposite side, because we have gotten some shouts for that as well. So obviously Messick has no sample to speak of. 24, number 4 prospect for Cleveland on Fangraphs, 49 overall. Big time lefty changeup. You know, if we want to talk about what he was doing in the minors, 29% K rate in AAA this year. Last year in the minors, 30% K rate. This is a guy with real stuff, real legitimate strikeout stuff, and act like he profiles better than Bayo for sure. So what do the Red Sox look like against lefties this year for their active roster? Because that's going to tell a big story. Boston is 18th in WRC plus against lefties. They have a 160 ISO, so smack dab in the middle of the pack. They have a 24.9% K rate, which is 6th in the league. I don't even think this is close. These guys are basically the same top 2 top value ownership. I think Messick is quite a bit ahead of Brian Bayo today. If I use the lineup builder, what do we end up looking at if we take Bassett and Messick and I just let it give me whatever? That's a little bit too random for me. Let's go Messick. Let's go Bassett. I'm going to go back and get my Minnesota Twins for today, since I think they are my overall preferred option. Buxton, Wallner, Keishel, Jeffers, Lewis. If I complete that lineup, we have 4,200 for first, which gets us Devers, Otto Lopez in at short, Moniak in at outfield. I mean, this is going to be it. This is going to be it. Yeah, 87%. I think the Bassett pairing, 10% owned. The Messick pairing, 10% owned. If you're grabbing one of those guys to go with Green, to go with Strider, to go with Gray, I think that's the way you balance out your pitching. It's Bassett and it's Messick. Can I look into Luis Garcia? Absolutely. Because he grades out really well in our data. I'm going to refresh both of these pages because I'm assuming that we've gotten an update since I last did. So Luis Garcia, 4.1 run implied total for the Angels, 11.5 top 2, cheap at 7,500, but he is the chalk value option today. Now, that not typically something that I really care about. So if we want to look at the Angels here, tell me this is just a stupid Luis Garcia issue on add more funds. All right, I'll pull them up on Fangraphs. That'll be easier. Astros. Okay, so hasn't thrown a major league inning in years. Been throwing in AA and AAA for the past month and change. Final AAA start stretched out to 6. 5 Ks, 1 walk, 4 hits, faced 22 batters. Did give up 2 home runs in AA against Texas. I mean, what the hell are we supposed to do with this? You know, obviously he had great strikeout stuff prior to, you know, back when COVID was a thing. I mean, surely there's something there. I got to admit, it's at least a little scary. How have the Angels been against righties this year? This will sort of break the tie. Active roster versus righties on the season. WRC plus. Angels are 23rd. They do have the number 1 K rate. They are top 10 in power. I mean, look, at the very least, there is massive upside in the strikeout department for Luis Garcia today in this matchup against the biggest strikeout team against righties. His strikeout prop is 4.5. It's getting smacked to the over right now. I'm guessing he doesn't have an outs prop, but if he does, that would be great. Yeah. No outs prop, which you wouldn't expect it, you know, making your first start in years. Does that have an earn run prop? Over, under 1.5. Yeah, I get I'm cool with Garcia. Add Garcia to... I like that combination of Messick and Garcia. Bassett's obviously a little bit more expensive, so I don't want to lump them in the same way. There's obviously an immense downside for Garcia, but with the way that the Angels strike out, kind of hard for me to believe that I shouldn't be looking in that direction. It's really a shame we have as many lineups as we do right now that are still needed. Got to be ready to swap those out. I'm going to build out. I'm only playing 12 lineups and something. I don't even remember what I registered right now, but I'm going to build those out right now. So let's take a look at that. Let's generate a contest and see what the Sims are looking like. Okay, hold on. We just got a projections update in this last minute, so I'm going to wait that out until the ownership lands. Is there anything else you guys want me to look at? And be serious. On the hitting side or on the pitching side? We can go a couple different ways. I guess I probably should have mentioned Charlie Morton a little bit as a leverage option. You guys know the drill. Manaea. 8,100 in Detroit. Little bit of power leak to righties. Detroit against lefties, active roster, middle of the pack K rate. Fourth in WRC plus, 191 ISO. Yeah, I'll pass on Manaea. I will pass on Manaea. I'm going to wait out this ownership update. Let me check my phone to see when that's going to be done. Okay, it's running right now. Once that ownership run hits, then we'll take a peek and we'll start building out my lineups. 12 and I don't remember what I'm playing. I got stuff going on today. So once I drop those, I don't want to pay attention to too much, especially with some of these lineups not coming out. What are you guys up to for Labor Day? Y'all grilling? Hanging out? What do you guys got going on? All 420 of you on this lovely Monday, September 1st. What are the Labor Day plans, guys? I want to hear them. Who's doing cool stuff? Baseball and beer. Aaron Hernandez. Well, that's better than what you used to do on Labor Day, Aaron Hernandez. Much better. Doing the honey-do list? Yeah, I started on some of that this morning. Malakar's eating some BBQ. Drink some beers and watch the Mets. There you go. All right, ownership is updated. Let's generate my pool. Boop, 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 boop. Let's see what we end up with here. Well, seems like a lot of barbecue and a lot of pools. Good for you guys. Getting an AMG GLC delivered. Mike, I have no idea what any of that is. That could be a gun, a computer, a car. I have no idea. Malakar, 1 year sober today. Congratulations, brother. All right, let's see what we end up with here. First run. We're going to have a lot of filters and ROI boosts to kill here. It's a car. Got it. I don't know shit about cars. All right, let's see what we're going to get here. 5,000 lineup pool, 35% to first. We need to carve out the top 12 lineups. I don't want to be overly exposed to any one team. So let's see what we end up with. I've got some filters in here that I need to remove first. I've got some ROI boosts that I may or may not still have. Either way, let's clear them. All right, so let's just start at the top. If I favorite my top 12 lineups, what are the exposures looking like? All right, at least from a pitching perspective, I don't get anywhere north of 50 on anybody. It's Strider, Gray, Green. I'm going to end up bumping Messick and Bassett before we get done this. And I guess Luis Garcia, but he's already there. If we look at it from a stack perspective, it's all 5-mans. A lot of Minnesota, a lot of Washington, a lot of Miami, Angels, Milwaukee, and then some Colorado filler. All right, so right now, that's not so bad. White Sox, Miami, Minnesota is what we wanted. The only downside to what we have right now was what? No Miami? Am I remembering that correctly? No, I do have Miami. Miami, Minnesota, no White Sox. No White Sox. Okay. So the next thing that I want to do is make sure I don't play anything too chalky. So I'm going to filter out some of the most owned lineups. 143.5. Okay. And then the only other thing I'm going to do is set a stack type that contains a dash. I want to make sure I either have a 4-man or a 5-man with another secondary stack. So now we'll head back to the top, and I want to make sure I have 4 uniques for today, just given the amount of lineups. If I take the top 12, it's still the same. It's still a top 12 here. But now you guys can see that the stack exposures have changed pretty dramatically, and we're getting a little bit more sunny gray. But that also gave me 70% of the Giants, and I absolutely don't need that. So I need to make that 94 be way less. So let's knock that back quite a bit. Unfavorite all. Favorite the top 12. I don't know if that worked out the way that I wanted it to. Unfavorite all. 4 uniques, top 12. Still unique. Okay. Minnesota, Washington, Miami. I'm happy with that. It's probably too much Minnesota. So what I want to do is knock Minnesota back a notch, knock Washington back a notch, and I'm going to bump up the White Sox to see if I can sneak one of those in, since we like those guys a little bit earlier. And then I'm also going to boost Luis Garcia by 5, Messick by 5, and Bassett by 10. Let's see what the impact ends up being here. So at the very least, I want to get my placeholders in. Okay, so we're looking at a 4-4 of Washington and the Angels. Minnesota, Miami, why I can't get the White Sox in anywhere. We'll give them one more bumperoo. Pitching is still okay. Probably not nearly enough Messick or Garcia. So I'll give Garcia one more. I'll give Messick one more. And then whatever I have right now is going to be the placeholders that I go with, likely for the next 15 minutes or whatever. Okay. So pitching exposures, at least heading into lock or at least close to it. Strider, Green, Gray are just going to make it all up. 2xing Strider, 2xing Green, 2xing Gray. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the stacks that I'm prioritizing are just not that expensive. And then from a stack perspective, Minnesota, Washington, Miami. I did end up getting a White Sox stack in there. Probably don't have enough of the Giants at this moment. Don't really have any of the Giants at this moment. So fading the chalk, hitting appears to be what I'm doing. So let me go ahead and add those and export them and at least get my placeholder saved. And then we can take a look at what those lineups that just came out are doing and how we want to play with that information. Okay. My placeholder lineups are in, so I feel a little bit better. So let's look at those lineups that just came out, shall we? So we've got Ramos, Devers, Adames, Smith, Chapman, Lee, Schmidt, Bailey, Gilbert. So Giants lineup just came in 4 minutes ago. Yeah, that's pretty annoying for the Devers and Smith combo. Hey, look, that's me right there, live, doing this through the looking glass, everybody. Okay. Yeah, that does change the way the Giants get stacked because they naturally have like half of the combinations they could have had, which is kind of annoying. How much Devers do I have? I got a sneaky suspicion it's not a ton. Yeah, 25, just equal to the field. Steven, who's not in it? Do you know? All right, I have Devers, Chapman, Ramos, and Lee. Devers, Chapman, Ramos, Lee. Okay, so no matter what, I don't have to make any changes for San Francisco, which is nice. Yeah, that's an understatement and a half there. If you play Smith over Devers, it will make your lineup different. That is very for sure. I don't have much of the Giants, so that one's not going to sting too bad for me. All right, guys, final question. Is there anything else you guys want to see before we wrap this bad boy up? We're at the top of the hour. Lock is coming up at 1:05. Anything else you want me to take a peek at before we dip on out of here and finish off our Labor Day? Favorite single entry stack? Minnesota for sure. Yeah, Minnesota would be the team I like the most. Can you play the Jays for leverage? So that is one of the teams that were one of my potential look at them for a stack teams. There's certainly enough power there. But, I mean, obviously it's terrifying. I'd be more likely to just not play green than I think I would want to like run head first into the Blue Jays. My top lineup is Hunter Green, Strider, Jeffers, Wagaman, Edwards, Royce Lewis, Neto, Buxton, Wallner, Larnack. Cash pitchers are going to be some combination of Gray and either Green or Strider. Probably Strider, but Green is just as likely. It's those three guys and likely no one else. Folks, that is going to do it. I hope you guys have a great day. We're back tomorrow. Super normal Tuesday. We're doing it again. And then I'm out for a bit. You guys get to have the entire NFL experience, NFL strategy show tomorrow. The NFL is back, folks. Don't miss it. Make sure you're hanging out with Laffy tomorrow. I think it's Laffy and Ben kicking off the true start of our NFL coverage. And don't forget, one last time, links in the description. If you guys want to sign up, 10% off NFL yearly or all access. Deal ends Monday of next week. It's the biggest savings you'll get from any package we have. Good luck, everybody. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later.